If you share the same feeling, strap in. I, Dr. Prerna, founder of Kid Dental, am here to break down working length determination, a core concept you absolutely need to nail. I am gonna make this concept easy to understand and even easier to apply in your clinical practice. Let's get started. Go ahead and take a quick snapshot of these common questions about working length determination. They are great for the quick review later. What exactly is a working length? It's the distance from the coronal reference point to the point at which the canal preparation and the obturation should terminate. These coronal reference points are fixed point on the occlusal or the incisal surface from which the measurements are made. Think of it as your starting line, which is stable, easily visible spot on the tooth that remains unchanged during or between the appointments. Before you determine the working length, you need to know your landmarks. Success in the endo is all about understanding the anatomy of the apex. There are four major ones to remember: anatomic apex versus radiographic apex, cementodentinal junction, apical foramina, and apical constriction. Let us begin with the difference in the root apex. Firstly, the anatomic apex is the tip or the end of the root, determined morphologically, whereas the radiographic apex is determined on the X-ray, and they aren't always the same. The cementodentinal junction is where your dentine meets cementum. It's usually about 0.5 to 1 mm short of anatomic apex, the main opening of the root canal from where your nerves and vessel usually exit the tooth is called as major apical foramina. This foramen is never located in the center but is deviated by 0.5 to 3 mm. The next one is the apical constriction, also called minor diameter, which is the narrowest part of the root canal. This apical constriction widens as we move towards the major apical diameter, resembling the funnel shape or the flower of glory. It's wise to know that apical constrictions aren't all the same. Hence, Dahmer in 1984 classified apical constriction as type 1, in which a simple, continuous narrowing of a single canal is seen. In type 2, the taper canal narrows gradually towards the apex, resembling the funnel. Sometimes you will see multiple constriction present along the apical portion of the canal, or the presence of parallel canal walls in the apical region forms type 4 apical constriction. And when you think you have got it all figured out, you might encounter apical delta, where the canal splits into multiple tiny canals, or a blind accessory canal which ends inside the roots without exit, or you may even encounter a loop-shaped canal. Hence, knowing these variations will lead to a higher success rate of endodontic therapy. Now, let us understand why recording of the working length is so important. It helps us to determine how far within the canal the instruments are placed and worked upon, and therefore how deeply the tissue, the debris and metabolites are removed. It also affects the degree of pain and discomfort the patient will experience after the appointment from over or under instrumentation. If one keeps the working length within the correct limit, it plays a major role in determining the success of the treatment, and if one fails to do so, it can lead to failure of the root canal treatment. Hold on, before you grab that file, keep these things in mind. The canal are rarely straight, so bend your file to follow the curvature. If the tooth is fractured, the incisal tip or the cusp tip is first reduced to remove the unsupported enamel rods before selecting the reference point. This ensures stable, repeatable, and accurate measurements. Lastly, having an idea of average length of a tooth you're working on can prevent you from over-instrumentation. There are few ways to do so, ranging from the old school techniques to modern technology. The classic way includes all these radiographic methods. Let us begin with Wien's method of working length determination. This one is based on the science of root resorption. If there is no evidence of root or bone resorption, then the preparation should terminate 1 mm short of the apical foramen. Whereas if the bone resorption is evident without root resorption, then it's 1.5 mm short of apical foramen, and if both the bone and root are resorbed, then the preparation should terminate 2 mm short of apical foramen. The next is a simple, practical and widely used approach, which is Engel's method. Let me make it easy with an example. You can measure the working length of mandibular first premolar from the cusp tip to the root apex on the radiograph. Consider it as to be 22 mm. Now subtract 0.5 to 1 mm from this length, as a minor constriction is always present just short of anatomic apex. This serves as a safety factor to compensate for the radiographic image distortion. Now you can transfer this adjusted measurements to an endodontic file with a silicone stopper and place it within the root canals. After this, you can take a radiograph to confirm that an instrument is within the apical terminus of the root canal at cemento-dentinal junction. Dr. Louis Grossman gave more mathematical approach to determine working length. In this technique, the endodontic file is inserted through the access cavity with a slight wiggling motion along the entire canal length until the file reaches the estimated working length of the canal. The exact location of the instrument in the canal can be determined using radiograph. If required, the measured length is adjusted so that the instrument tip is inserted up to 0.5 mm from the apical exit of the root canal to the reference point on the crown of the tooth. Hence, we can determine the actual length of the tooth by this formula. That is, the actual length of the instrument is multiplied with the radiographic length of the tooth and is divided by the radiographic length of the instrument that we get. You can also use non-radiographic methods like the tactile method by using your senses of touch to feel the apical constriction. The paper point method, where you look for the blood on the paper point, or even by checking for the apical periodontal sensitivity while you're working. But the most widely used technique today is the apex locator. These electronic devices provides you with the super accurate readings, saves the patient from the extra radiations, and make the entire process much faster. Well, we'll cover this in detail in upcoming videos. We have just covered a lot of ground, so feel free to take another screenshot of these key points. I really hope this guide to the working length determination helps you to feel more confident in your practice. Do you have any questions or ideas for what is to be covered next? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single one. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe and hit that bell icon so you don't miss out on our next video. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next one.